There it is. Unreal. Have you heard of the term triple-triple? Well, our next guest, he is very familiar with it. It means 3 gold medals in 3 consecutive Olympic Games. He's a 9-time Olympic gold medalist. Holds so many world records. I can't even get into all of them. Usain Bolt in the house. Thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure.
And
really
congratulations on all your success. He is the man.
The way to phrase it, I think, is the fastest human who ever lived.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
there's
that's a
that
fact.
too. Yes, thank you for simplifying it for us. Usain, I just mentioned, obviously, your dominance over the last 3 Olympic Games, right? Beijing, London, and then, of course, Brazil. What's the key to your longevity?
For me, it's just wanting it. You know what I mean? I've always wanted. I'm just determined, and I'm just a hard worker. So those are the keys that kept me going.
You're just always faster than like, you know, you're turning and looking at guys as you're passing them. But has this been this way since you were like, you've just always been faster than everyone in the world your age, or you know?
Surprisingly, yes. I started out. When I was a junior, I was just really good. I didn't train as much, but I just had the talent. And then I got to the senior level. It took me a while to get started, but when I got going, I just kept on going because I wanted it and I wanted to be great. So I had to push myself every day and sacrifice to be the best.
Did you want to be the greatest of all time? You look at Carl Lewis, Ben Johnson, whoever it is, and think, I'm going to be greater than those guys.
For me, I just wanted to be like Muhammad Ali and Pelé and all these guys. That's my goal. I was like, if I can get to this level, I'll be one of the greatest. So that's what I worked towards, and that's what my goal was.
Do you have an enemy in track? Somebody that you just like to laugh at when you're blowing by them? I mean, do you have an enemy out there that you just, I mean, because I'm thinking, you know, we're seeing you laugh at guys as you run by them, but I'm wondering if those were guys that you just didn't like. It was a guy that it wasn't, beating them wasn't good enough for you. You wanted to humiliate some of them because you've humiliated quite a few people, in case you haven't noticed.
It was definitely that. I think there's a few guys out there that I'm always extra happy to beat, you know what I mean? Because there's always leading up to a championship, there's always a lot of chatter, people saying what they're gonna do or they're gonna beat me. So when I beat them, it's always a different joy. But for me, it's never trying to humiliate anybody. It's just always just having fun.
Who? Names. Names. Who are the guys who you get extra pleasure from dusting?
For me, it's always the guys from the States. Because they always be like Tyson Gay, and especially Justin Gatlin for the past 3 years. He's the one that's always saying, yo, I'm going to be Usain Bolt. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So it's always that extra pleasure.
Are those the guys you respect more in terms of competition? Is that why you want to beat them more?
Yeah, for me, they drive me. They definitely drive me, you know what I mean? Because having good competition and having that somebody to know that, listen, you have to keep your game up, keep your game high, and step your game up, and it shows up different.
Yeah. That's why I like beating Stephen A on this show every day, because he pushes me.
You say don't let him lie to you like that. Everybody knows he gets smacked down every day on national television.
Okay, Gatling.
They all know what time it is.
I know what's up.
Okay, Gatling.
You know what time. He knows what time it is. Zip it, Max. Zip it. Here's the thing. You saying, what is this I'm hearing? Like, you know, listen, a guy by the name of Kevin Hart, who's an extraordinary comedian. I heard he's an inspiration to you. You know, he tried to come and take my job, but he didn't sit high enough in the chair. But what I'm saying is that what kind of an inspiration was Kevin Hart to you? How the hell did he become an inspiration to you? How did that happen?
All right, so I started following him on Instagram, and then he always works out a lot, you know what I mean? And then I started following him on Snapchat, and then I noticed that he works out every day. Like, there's no day that he doesn't work out, you know what I mean? So for me, he helped to motivate me, because a lot of the mornings I get up, I'm like, oh, I don't want to train, or I don't want to do my ab workout. But when I go on Snapchat and I see him and he's like, yo, no matter what, I'm up. I didn't want to get up this morning, but I'm up. So for me, that helps me, you know what I'm saying? If Kevin Hart is not a sports star and he's working so hard, I just need to get up and go do what I have to do, you know what I mean?
Well, wait a minute. He didn't tell you that he was the MVP, like the 2- to 3-time MVP of the celebrity basketball. Even though he scored like 2 points, he didn't tell you that?
We always hear that. We always hear that, man. I was there one year when he won, I think, the first MVP. I was there, so it was
That's
crazy.
really interesting to me, that the fastest guy who ever lived doesn't fall into the curse of the gifted, because sometimes the more gifted you are, you don't have to work as hard. I can dust these fools without working as hard. And you look to a comedian who is not the tallest fellow in the world, by the way.
True.
And this comedian, an actor, from his workout regimen, helps you avoid the curse of the gifted.
Yeah, Listen, he works hard. I have to give him that much. He's dedicated to always working out. You know what I mean? He always said, his new motto, he said he's got to get the motto out there. I go to work before I go to work. So for me,
and Max,
I try to push myself at a level now. Like even though I'm on vacation now, I try to get up, at least do some abs. If I don't go to the weights for my workout, I try
kind of a shot at Gatling, really, and these other guys. You're saying that they can't motivate. You guys.
I need to go to Kevin Hart's Snapchat.
No shot.
We're all going to be on his Snapchat.
Molly.
Yes.
Molly, you actually should. Kevin works. He does. If you say he's right, he does work out every day.
I could
and
use
Kevin
it.
Hart's one of the best. He's a great comedian, but he's one of the best people you'll ever meet. He's a beautiful person. I'm always rooting for that brother. Usain, before I let you get on out of here, I got to ask you this question. We had Tony Dungy go on the air, or go on a record months ago talking about how phenomenal you would be as an NFL player. Have you fantasized or ever thought about what you would be as a professional football player, or is that something you've never thought about in your life?
I've definitely thought about it, but the hits some of these guys get, you know what I mean? And it's a tricky career, you know what I mean? You could come in the first 2 games and be out all season, you know what I mean? So for me, it's pretty tricky. I'm not really into contact sports. I'm more of a soccer type of guy, you know what I mean?
How are your hands? Can you catch the ball?
Yeah, I think I'm very good at almost any sport except like tennis and golf.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But Stevie, I must say that people in Jamaica really, they watch First Take all the time and they really love you. So just shout out to Jamaica sometimes, you know what I mean? Big up Jamaica sometimes because you're watching.
Sure.
Well, I don't know if they realize this. My family, I got West Indian roots. I got relatives in Jamaica, West, Antigua, St. Thomas, St. Lucia, the whole bit. So tell them all I sent my love.
Yeah, I don't
Thanks
have
so much,
any West Indian roots, but I have worked with Lennox Lewis in the past. Does that count at all?
It counts,
My man,
Max.
Lennox,
It counts,
my
Max.
man.
It counts, Max.
Usain, we appreciate you watching too, and thank you so much for being here.
No problem.
Coming up next.
Set my fandom aside, I'm just going to be right. The Cowboys are a near lock to beat the Redskins.
Hold on. You just mentioned the Cowboys and a lock in the same sentence. Did I hear you correctly?
Looking left this time. Still looking. Goes over the middle, and it is picked off. Picked off by the Cowboys in the end zone on the doorstep of a score.
Back to throw. Good protection. Runs up out of the pocket. Runs to the goal line. Leads it in. That's a great read by Dak Prescott. 2nd and 2 at the 4. Handoff. Inside. Alfred Morris. Walks the dog. Alfred Morris comes back to Washington and puts Dallas on top.
Well, I guess we all know who won that debate. Dak Prescott celebrated his first career victory last Sunday in Washington. On Sunday night, he'll be looking for his first win with Dallas in primetime when the winless Bears come to town. Prescott is already making history as a replacement for the injured starter Tony Romo. The Mississippi State product has thrown 75 passes without an interception in his first 2 NFL games, breaking Warren Moon's record. We now welcome Will Kane, who correctly predicted that one.
That's right,
How we
Molly.
doing? Thank
He
you for
did.
being with us.
About the only one he correctly predicted. A dead clock is right twice a day with his lucky self. What's up, man? What's up?
Well, I'm happy to be here. I appreciate you guys having me on. But, yeah, we don't move to the future till we at least get to wallow in the past for one moment. Do you want to apologize? Do you want to recognize?
Hell no. Hell no, you lucked up. It ain't my fault that Kirk Cousins forgot how to play or Jay Gruden
I don't know
forgot
that he
how to
ever
coach.
remembered,
I mean,
Stephen A.
please. Excuse me?
Let's not pretend, by the way, that was my only correct prediction, Molly. I mean, yeah, the Cowboys are an easy prediction. Didn't you have another one about, doesn't Mike Zimmer have Aaron Rodgers' number? Didn't Aaron Rodgers go on to have perhaps his worst game as a professional?
Stephen A., don't tell me when I'm not here you're getting schooled by everybody. I thought it was just me.
Max, he also picked the Dolphins to beat the Patriots.
Well,
And I forgot what else he picked.
That.
I mean, I'm just simply saying, you got me. Yeah, listen. He got me. He got me. Listen, the only really pick I care about is the Cowboys. I mean, the Aaron Rodgers, Vikings thing or whatever, they'll figure that out. Aaron Rodgers hasn't been the same for a little while. He's got to get on his game, no question about it. But the real place Will got me was with the damn Cowboys, because I swear I didn't think that the Redskins would lose this game. You got me there. I'm a man up and acknowledge you with your non-football knowing self actually lucked up.
Yeah.
and
I know.
picked
A
the
guy
right
from
pick with the
Texas
Cowboys.
picks.
I'm gonna give it to that.
A guy from Texas picks the Cowboys.
Exactly.
Shocker.
If I were you, Stephen A., just some humble advice. If I were you, I wouldn't go around calling me my non-football knowing self, because it gives the impression that just anybody can step up on this set and beat you. And I know you're running a competition. I know you have a competition for all the folks at home who are ready to do that.
Yes.
I should be inspiration. And therefore, I'm inspiration to everyone.
Let me ask you a
Aspirational for
question.
everyone out
By the way, Molly,
Yes.
I'm glad Will brought that up because I want to let folks know that, you know, the reason why you got legal involved for ESPN and all of that stuff is because they want to make sure that the average viewers out there don't get massacred once this contest begins and they come on this show. So again, you might get people that luck up here and there. I'm on the airwaves live 2 hours a day every day, you know, more than 40 weeks a year. I mean, what do you expect? A dead clock is right twice a day. But in the end, over the grand scheme of things, people are going to get beat down, which you would know if you were around more. But Max is there to tell you he's an expert in that category right now.
Let's do it. Let's move forward.
Fully
Yes,
delusional.
let's talk some Cowboys, and I want to start with you,
Yes.
Will. Are the Cowboys Romo's team when he returns?
Undoubtedly. This is not a debate. Let's give credit where credit's due first. Let's start with Dak. Dak, everyone talks about, the word everyone uses with Dak is poise. And that merits itself out in the numbers, and it's specifically in third down conversions. He's converting third downs like no other rookie, like a seasoned vet. What more, he's improving. If you look at his QBR, his completion percentage from game 1 to game 2, he went from 55 to 70% completion. He went up to a QBR above 100 in his second game. Dak's the real deal. But this is why it's Romo's. Dak's best game yet is not as good as Tony Romo's worst game. You take Tony Romo's stats over his career, and I don't care what stat you want to pick. Completion percentage, yards per attempt, QBR, touchdown percentage, record, 19-4 over the last 2 or 3 seasons. It's Tony Romo. And as long as the debate is Tony Romo at his worst is better than Dak at his best right now, it's Romo's team from here forward.
Yeah, I mean, Will is right about this, Stephen A. Look, Dak Prescott is excellent, and he's going to be excellent. You see the real deal. You know it when you see it. It's throughout the preseason, the regular season, etc. However, let's not forget that if Cousins doesn't throw a red zone pick, they're 0-2 right now, and everyone's clamoring, when is Romo going to get back? I mean, that's what would happen if not for Cousins' interception. Tony Romo, when last seen in action over the course of a full season, 2014, it's a little closer in the recent past than it sounds, right? Because it's a season and some change. 5th in points, the Cowboys were with Romo under center. 7th in total offense. 12 wins and 1 call away from the NFC Championship game. Same O-line, maybe better, they've added since then. Same star wideout. Okay, the tight end is getting older, but he can still play. They drafted a running back high up. I mean, when Tony Romo is healthy, even the perception of the Cowboys goes from plucky team that might get it done on offense to, whoa, if they can play defense at all, they're kind of like a poor man's Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, if they can play defense at all, they're a real threat. That all changes. The entire perception of the team changes if Tony Romo is a starting quarterback. Yes on Dak Prescott, but not yet. If Romo's available, he's clearly the better option at this point.
Well, see, now y'all switching it up because I was getting ready to jump all over Will because he sounded too damn much like you. He makes a point that he hedges his bet by going to the other side before coming back to the side, thereby giving me no side to attack because you covered both sides. I was gonna get all over you. But here's the problem. What you're saying, Max, is this. Based on right now. Well, who the hell's going to argue that right now with Dak Prescott, who's only completing about 60% of his passes, okay, he hasn't thrown a touchdown yet, hasn't thrown any interceptions either, he's thrown for over 500 yards. It's a decent performance because guess what? He's not turning the ball over. He's not contributing to his team losing. He's keeping things under control and holding down the fort. And for a rookie 4th-round pick, that's a phenomenal thing to accomplish in your first 2 games in the NFL. We understand that, but there's no question that at this particular juncture, Tony Romo would be the guy. What I thought we were asking here is that since Tony Romo is not projected to be back before, let's say, week 8 to 10, all right, that's at least half the season. If Dak Prescott is flowing like this and continuing to elevate his stature, you disrupt that because Tony Romo is back healthy? My response to that is, hell no.
Yes, you will.
Do
Look,
not do that.
this is a league.
Hold on. I'll let y'all speak.
Go ahead.
I'll let y'all speak.
You talked so
My
long,
point is, Will, Max, I'm saying to y'all, consider the culture. Tony Romo has been your starting quarterback all the time since 2007. They have 2 playoff victories in 9 years. What is there to talk about? If Dak Prescott is flowing 8 games, 9 games into the season, you don't sit there and disrupt that to take care of Tony Romo. If Tony Romo came back this week, yes. But if this happens for 8 weeks, no, you don't do that.
I got it. You want to set the terms of the debate on a hypothetical. That's cool. I'm good with hypotheticals.
What's a hypothetical? Tony Romo's out.
You've presented, the way you've changed the debate is
Tony Romo's out.
If Dak Prescott is what? I don't know what the parameters are, flowing, whatever that means. One of the best quarterbacks in the league. Do you sit him for Tony Romo? That's the new term. That's the new terms.
The brothers understand what I meant, Will. The brothers understand that. You know what I'm saying? I just want you to know that. It's okay, Will. It's all right. I know. I'm trying to bring you there. I'm trying to bring you up to speed. You know, with the lingo.
It could be a black-white thing.
It's all right.
It could be a New York, Texas thing, or it could be a little imprecision on your part to give you a little wiggle room come the week 8.
The first two. The first two. Black, white, New York, Texas.
That's fair. The flowing point is fair. It is a little bit ambiguous, but that's the nature of the NFL. Kurt Warner, who got his job due to an injury, became the best player in football, arguably. I mean, he was MVP, greatest show on turf. He's the orchestrator. He's the guy you want on your fantasy team. He's the guy you want on your real team. He gets hurt. Mark Bulger, who's, fine. He's not some world beater, but he's fine. Takes over, and the Rams go 8-0, and Kurt Warner gets healthy, and he never plays for St. Louis again. I mean, that was it. So if it could happen to Kurt Warner, who as good as Romo is, has never been as good as Warner was back then, and as interesting as Bulger was, did not have the promise that Dak Prescott has right now, it could also happen. I'm not saying it couldn't happen to Romo. It's possible it could happen to Romo. But to Will's point, Stephen A., what does flowing mean?
Let Will make his point.
What does it mean? I'm asking you, what does it mean?
I'll answer that for you, Max. Flowing means that in 8 weeks, Stephen A. doesn't have to be held accountable for Dak Prescott's performance. Flowing means that he can win the debate no matter what. This is the answer. I'm going to accept the terms of Stephen A.'s debate here, and that is, let's assume Dak Prescott is awesome, also an ambiguous term, through the next 8 weeks. I will accept the body of evidence thing. Stephen A. has said, you have years of Tony Romo experience suggests he can't come through in the clutch. I say, I have years of body of evidence that Tony Romo statistically flies in the face of people like Stephen A. that want to mock him, that want to say he's not one of the best quarterbacks. I mean, it's in the numbers, and I will rely on that body of evidence and those numbers to say that Tony Romo is the guy you go with based upon, I know this is a Max term, pure weight of the evidence.
I'm struggling here, Will, because I'm trying to make a decision.
Yes.
Is it just that you're a homer because you're from Texas? Or is it that you're not a winner? Because I'm wondering, because here's the deal.
Why is that either or?
Hold on, Max. Tony Romo has done nothing when it counted. So if he's done nothing when it counts and all you can point to is numbers, I could give you a whole bunch of stuff or a whole bunch of people that might have put up decent numbers. But I thought in the world of sports, what it comes down to is your ability to step up when it counts most, particularly when you're a $100 million contract with over $55 million in guarantees who can't win playoff games. I'm sorry. That might have been my mistake. My bad.
I'm really glad that Max is here because I want, this coming from the guy.
You need all the help you can get.
This is coming from the guy who last week, to explain Aaron Rodgers against Mike Zimmer, came up with every excuse in the world, including Max.
He's a Super Bowl champion.
The weather, that it's a little cold in Minnesota. Stephen A. Hey, Stephen A., remind me, what's the name of the stadium in Green Bay? What's the nickname? What do they call it in Green Bay?
Lambeau.
You might not remember.
I'm sorry, Molly, what was that?
It's the frozen tundra.
Oh, the frozen tundra. So the quarterback that plays on the frozen tundra can't go to Minnesota and play. That was the excuse you offered.
Let me ask somewhat of a rhetorical question. And you can have Molly Wood there giggling all she wants. She can't help you. Here's the reality of the situation, Will. Here's the reality of the situation, Will. You are comparing an individual that has 2 playoff wins in his entire career to a Super Bowl champion, universally recognized as one of the top 2 to 3 quarterbacks of this generation. And I am saying to you, in 1 year, you have to win at least 3 playoff games to win a Super Bowl. So Aaron Rodgers has won more playoff games in 1 year than Tony Romo has won in 10.
It's not
and you
even
gonna compare the two?
I need to judge this for a second. Stephen A., if Will's point was that Mike Zimmer's a problem for Aaron Rodgers and you're denying that, you're crazy. Of course he's a problem for Aaron Rodgers. And Will, I like Tony Romo a lot. He ain't Aaron Rodgers.
No, I didn't say that. So, I'm sorry, that point was missed. My point is a man who says the weather is a problem for Aaron Rodgers might not be qualified to judge what a homer is.
Well, that's good. That's a good try. That was a good one. Well, because I think he's misquoting me. That's why I'm looking up.
No, we got tape. We got tape.
Wait a minute. Oh, I'm sure we got tape. I'm the man on the show. We damn sure got tape. But my point to you is this. My point to you is this. When I brought up the weather, I talked about last season. I wasn't talking about all the times that he played against Zimmer. And Aaron Rodgers has struggled against numerous teams, particularly since Jordy Nelson went down. But you left out those facts. Good try, though. Good try, though, Will. A good try.
Will, thank you. That was a lot of fun. I should get an award for managing these egos.